So in our last chapter, which was 22, Arthur was walking down the hallway where his locker is, and he sees a group of boys kind of huddling around a trash can. And in the trash can is a person. And they were like throwing basketballs at this. They were kind of totally bullying him. So Arthur like ran towards these guys and kind of saved this kid. And the kid he's like, "What are you doing in there?" The kid's like, "I don't know." He gets the kid out, gets him up on his feet. And right as he's getting this kid out of the trash can flips over, the basketballs roll everywhere, and then one of the jocks rams Arthur into a locker. And then right at that minute, all the coaches come, and they assume that it's Arthur's fault, and they, like, take him away. And he's worried that Officer Billy is going to get mad at him.
Don't they have cameras in the school?
This is 1963, remember. So, no.
This book is supposed to be that long.
Yes. In the beginning, remember it talked about Kennedy just dying. All right, so we're on 23. We're on 105. All right, let's start. The kid was called Squeak. So this is the kid that was in the trash can. The kid was called Squeak. Arthur remembered that as he sat in the office, Squeak had been in one of his classes back in elementary school. He couldn't recall the kid's real name. Arthur figured everybody called him Squeak because of his size, but he wasn't sure. He knew he'd never talked to him before. Why had he gotten involved? Arthur shook his head, more annoyed with himself than anyone else. He already had enough problems. The door of the vice principal's office opened up on Arthur's left. He forced himself not to look. Let Vice make the first move. Let Vice speak to him first, so he's waiting to see what's going to happen to him. Squeak came out of the office and past Arthur. He could hear the faint creak of his leather loafers and a snuffling sound that he assumed was the tail end of the kid's crying. He was a real shrimp for a 7th grader, Arthur noticed again, feeling bad for his non-existent hormones. Top of 106. Squeak didn't say anything to Arthur. He slipped into the noisy hall like some kind of invisible spirit. Mr. Owens, Vice stood in the doorway of his office, arms folded. You're next. Vice's small, windowless office smelled of stale coffee and body odor. Ew. Sit down, Mr. Owens. Vice pointed to one of the leather chairs by his desk. Arthur slid into it, careful not to make eye contact with Vice, careful not to think the chairs were nice. Well, Vice said, we've had quite a day today, haven't we, Mr. Owens? Arthur shrugged and mumbled, guess so. Vice leaned back, twisting and untwisting a paperclip with his fingers. Although I find this very hard to believe, Reginald says you were not one of the instigators today. Is that correct? Reginald is Squeak's name. The kid's real name was Reginald? Geez, Arthur tried not to shake his head at the bad luck the kid had. Abnormally short, gold glasses, and a name like Reginald. I'm waiting on an answer, Vice said. Spit it out. I don't have all day. I was just trying to help, Arthur replied sullenly, still looking down at the floor. That's all. And by help, you mean what? Arthur shrugged again. Just getting him out of the trash can. What else? So you go around helping people all the time, do you? Vice said sarcastically. Maybe, Arthur retorted. Vice tossed the deformed paperclip onto his desk. Arthur heard the tiny ping of it landing. Here's what I have a problem with, Mr. Owens. You are a convicted felon. You've been in jail. Arthur kept his eyes on the office floor. He pictured all of the layers of cement, dirt, rocks, magma, and continental plates below his feet as Vice went on talking. He couldn't be bothered to correct the vice principal's lies. It didn't matter, he told himself. Let people believe what they wanted. From what I can gather, Reginald is the only one who says you were helping him. Oh my God. Vice continued. Every other person in the hallway says they saw you tormenting him, putting him in the garbage can and throwing balls at him. Arthur's eyes shot upward. Well, they're wrong. So all the other guys, all the other jocks, said that he was the one that did all this. which was not true. Well, they're wrong. Here's what I think. Vice leaned forward. I think Reginald is afraid of you and is afraid to give me the truth. And let me tell you, Vice pointed at Arthur, if I see you lay one finger on him again, one finger, I'm calling your probation officer and you are out of this school for good. You stay away from Reginald. Do you understand me? Yes, Arthur said. In his head, he replied loud and clear. He left Vice's office and went back to class. But apparently nobody gave Squeak the message about staying away from Arthur, because the next day at lunch, Squeak sat down next to him. So he ends up getting in trouble for helping Reginald, aka Squeak, and the vice principal just kind of assumes that he is the one to blame, which is not very fair, just because he has a history. All right, we're going to stop there.